This is the Pound for Pound Boxing Show. I'm Jermaine. I'm here joined alongside Marcus Morrison. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for taking the time to join me. I know you're a bit busy today with the media ahead of your fight. Marcus, I want to ask you, obviously, a big fight coming up this weekend. How's training been going into this fight?
Yeah, training's been really good. We've had a good, solid camp. You know, we had an 8-week camp, if you like, sort of with the notice that we're fighting Chris Eubank Jr. But we was in the gym a long time before that. So yeah, we've had a good camp, and I'm looking forward to it now.
Yeah, as you mentioned, obviously you're fighting Chris Eubank Jr. Obviously, he's been out of the ring for a long time. You've been out of the ring for a while as well. I want to ask you, how did this fight first materialize?
It was literally out of nowhere, if I'm honest. It's not a fight that I'd asked for, or a fight that was sort of on my radar, if you like. But you know, when a fight comes up like this and it gets offered to you, there's with an opportunity like this, there's no way you can't afford to turn it down.
Yeah, I mean, it's a massive fight. Obviously, he carries a big name. Obviously, he's now training with Roy Jones Jr. He's out in America now. Obviously, his father is a legendary Chris Eubank. Obviously, this fight carries a lot of publicity, and obviously, it will be a big for you if you go on to win this fight. How big a victory would this be for you in your career if you was to go out and be victorious on Saturday night?
Yeah, this is massive. Like you said, you know, Chris Eubank Jr. is a big name, and it'd be a massive scout for me. And I think, you know, without even being involved in boxing, you know who sort of Chris Eubank Jr. is, just, you know, day to day sort of thing. So if I go and pull this off, you know, I was wrote off from the beginning. This is possibly one of, you know, the UK's British, you know, biggest upsets in boxing. And listen, I'm here for it, and it's something I believe I can go and pull off.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's an intriguing fight. Obviously, it's a chance for you to make a name for yourself as well, and then potentially go on and push for bigger fights.
Yeah, of course. It's you know, if you look at the names that he's calling out and the level that he wants to get to, he's not far off these fights that he's asking for. Your Golovkins, your Canelos, you know, these type of fighters. So I go and pull this off, and you know, what does that do for my career? That, you know, that fires my career, you know, right up into the world mix, and puts my name up there, and, you know, puts me with the big boys.
Yeah, you mentioned, obviously he's mentioned lots of Canelo, Triple G, maybe Charlo. Do you think this is a bit disrespectful, and maybe he's looking past you that he's mentioning these names heading into a fight against you on the weekend?
Listen, that's his problem, and you know, it would be his problem if he comes unstuck on Saturday night. You know, it's something I'm sure he'll kick himself for if I do put off the upset. And you know, I've been in a position before where I've overlooked fighters and I've come unstuck myself. I know it's something that you can't afford to do, especially with a dangerous fighter as me.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, can you take positives from the fact that he's been defeated by the likes of George Groves and Billy Joe Saunders?
Yeah, it's an automatic blueprint in it for how to beat Chris Eubank Jr. You know, whatever he's gone away and done and improved on. The fact is, he's been beat by, you know, better boxers. I've always said that Chris Eubank Jr. is a very good fighter, but when it comes to boxing, he's not the best. He's a good boxer, but you know, he can be outboxed. And like I said, I think, you know, that is the blueprint on how to beat Chris Eubank Jr.
100%. Obviously, I interviewed Joe Gallagher, your trainer, heading into his fight with heading into Callum Johnson's fight on the weekend. I want to ask you, obviously, you got a fantastic stablemate. So in terms of fighters, they've got massive fights coming up. Obviously, Callum won his fight last week. You've got Natasha Jonas fight on the undercard as well. A massive unification fight with Katie Taylor. Yeah. How good is it in training? How's the atmosphere been in training going into this fight?
Yeah, Joe's always had that sort of vibe in the gym. You know, he's always had a busy gym with everyone thriving and bouncing off each other. Obviously, Callum was out last week, had a great win. So me and Callum over the last sort of couple of months have really been in camp, knuckled down together, and we've helped each other. You know, he's helped me out for this camp in terms of sparring and technical work. And Tasha as well. She's been training alongside us as well. So I've seen Tasha day in day out, training, sparring. I've seen the work she's put in. She's in a good place, mentally and physically. This is the best I've ever seen Tasha. So it's all around. It's just been a good time for the gym, and I'm excited for Saturday now.
Yeah, 100%. Let's touch upon obviously your two stablemates. Obviously, Callum come off a fantastic win on his return after 2 years out in the ring with a fantastic knockout. What can you see big things happening for him in terms of maybe pushing on for world honours? Obviously, now he's mentioned lots of fighting Joe Smith Jr. Can you see that fight materialising anytime soon?
Yeah, I think Callum's at an age now where he's been there and he's proved how good he is, and he's at an age now where he wants these titles sort of quickly, these title fights, and he's come off a great win there, stopped a kid who was probably up there in beating a lot of good light heavyweights. He can punch. If you look at his record, the guy could punch, and he was certainly no mug. And he dispatched him pretty quickly. And I think he's a fight like the Joe Smith, that world title fight. I think that's one that could happen in the next, certainly this year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like I said, it's a fantastic win. Obviously, Callum has fought for world title before, so he has got that experience going into this fight. And obviously, we all know that at British level, he's a fantastic fighter. And obviously now, I'm sure he's going to be going on to push on for world honours and potentially become a world champion.
Yeah, he's I'd throw Callum in there with any light heavyweight. He's got the punching power, the boxing ability, and like I said, that last fight, it just proved that he's worthy of mixing it in a world title contention. And look, sooner rather than later for me, I think Callum should get a shot at a world title. Look what he did. He got in there with Beterbiev, who's obviously a great, strong, he's a beast. And, Callum put him over. So that proves he's got that punching power to hurt anybody in the world. I think Callum would love that rematch down the line. I think you put him in a world title fight, he picks up a world title. He'll have his tail up. And I think that's a great fight for a rematch. And I think Callum, again, could get in there and pull that off.
Yeah, we really do hope that hopefully he will get his chance and his title shot because he fully deserves it. I want to ask you, Marcus, though, obviously, he's talking a bit about Natasha. Obviously, she's fighting in another massive fight on the undercard of Jazora Parker. She's going against Katie Taylor, phenomenal athlete, phenomenal champion. Can you really see Natasha going out there and shocking Katie Taylor on Saturday night?
100%. Hand on my heart, I can say, like I said before, this is the best I've ever seen Natasha. I've trained alongside Natasha for a few years now, and I've really seen her come on over the last, few months, especially since she's been in this camp. Kate Taylor, taking the away from Kate Taylor, she's a great fighter, done unbelievable things for women's boxing, and she sort of paved the way for women's boxing and took it to a new level. But I do honestly believe that Tasha is the one that can dethrone Katie and come away with those belts.
Yeah, I mean, it's another intriguing fight. Obviously, she came up short. Some say she probably won that fight against Terry Harper. I interviewed Joe last week, and obviously I asked him this question: does Natasha Jonas have to win this by stoppage to win this fight, or can you see her potentially going and winning on judges' scorecards?
I wouldn't say she has to win it by knockout. She can do. Natasha's heavy-handed, so she could well, finish within the distance. But I don't believe she has to. I think Natasha's a good enough boxer, as good as Katie is. She's a good enough boxer to take a points win if it comes to it. She's technically very good, great amateur pedigree. Obviously, they both of them have. But I do think Natasha is good enough to come away with a points win. But like I said, she does carry the punching power to end it within the distance.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like I said, this goes a fantastic fight. One the British boxing fans are looking forward to, and it's going to be a cracking card. I want to ask you, Marcus, obviously, potentially going to have a fantastic undisputed heavyweight championship fight between Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. I've asked a lot of fighters this. I want to ask you for your predictions. Who wins and why?
Listen, it's a tough fight. Heavyweight boxing is hard to call because there's such big guys. Anything can happen in boxing, but anything really can happen in heavyweight boxing. These guys carry the punching power. These guys will knock out a horse. So anything can happen in boxing. But if you to ask me my opinion, I'd say Fury win. I think Fury gets a stoppage, to be honest. He's just all wrong. He's so awkward. And you look what he did. He's come on. Look what he did to Wilder in the second fight. I think this is a fight where Fury will go in there with the same mindset as he did with Wilder for the second fight. And listen, saying that though, if Joshua lands, he will certainly put Fury away. But I don't know whether Fury is too cute and too smart to get involved in, getting caught with too many big shots.
Yeah. Whatever the
outcome, it's a Fury stoppage, I believe.
Okay. Yeah. Well, whatever the outcome, I'm sure it's going to be a fantastic fight and a historic fight because a lot of British fans have been waiting for this fight to happen for a long, long time now. So hopefully we can get it finalised and it can happen this year.
Yeah, hopefully it's it's one of them. If you look at sort of like a Kell Brook and Khan, it'd be, if it never happened, it'd be sort of one of them, but on a much bigger scale. If this fight never happened, that'd be a real shame for years to come for British boxing, for world boxing.
Yeah, 100%. I want to, obviously, before I let you go, Marcus, I want to ask you, have you got a message for your fans and a message for Chris Eubank Jr. going into this fight on Saturday night?
No, listen, what will be will be. We'll both get in there Saturday night. I think the fans are in for a real treat, an explosive fight. And if I say anything, I say don't blink. Like I said, anything can happen in boxing, and I'm not going in there to make up the numbers. And there'll be some heavy shots thrown come Saturday night.
Brilliant, Marcus. Oh, 100%. We will be 100%. Marcus, I'm going to thank you again for taking the time to chat with me today, and I wish you nothing but the best heading into your fight on Saturday night.
Thank you very much. Cheers for having me, mate.
Take care now.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.